Hello everybody, Kyle here. I haven't done a review in a while. I didn't do one for Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. I liked the film, but I I think I forgot to do one for that one. But I am here to talk about the worldwide sensation known as Barbenheimer. So I'm going to be reviewing both Barbie and Oppenheimer in one review, a full Barbenheimer special. So, to start off, I'll talk about Barbie because that was the first one I watched. I loved Barbie. I thought that Greta Gerwig crafted an incredibly funny and emotional film that manages to respect all eras of Barbie while also bringing us into this new world that we've never seen captured on film before. I think it was really smart to cast Margot Robbie as what is called in the film stereotypical Barbie, and also Ryan Gosling as Ken. They both play off each other so well. Ryan Gosling goes for more of the comedic approach with Ken, um, but he just is eating it up every single scene he's in. But in my opinion, he doesn't take it away from Margot, because I think at the center of the story is Margot's Barbie, and I really love what she brings to this performance. A lot of people have complained, I think, in the past that Margot has acted too much like Harley Quinn in Babylon and other films that she's been in, but I personally don't feel that way. I feel like Margot is always a versatile actress that is able to change up every single role that she is in. And in the case of Barbie, this is a Margot performance that we've really never seen before. It has some of the Harley Quinnisms to it, but it's also a very vulnerable performance and a very chaotic one too, where it's similar to Enchanted, but in a way, it's Barbie leaving the Barbie land and going to the human world and learning about the human experiences. But it's also about like womanhood and about mothers and daughters. And the idea of Barbie from the inception is of Ruth Handler and making this doll named after her own daughter. So the fact that this film takes that idea of a mother and daughter and puts it as the central theme of Barbie, I think was really, really smart. And that is all thanks to Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach's screenplay. Um, I think for me, the one of the standouts for me is really Kate McKinnon as Weird Barbie. She just adds a lot of fun, quirkiness to the role, and I've always loved Kate McKinnon going all the way back to her first episodes of SNL, and I think she's really, really good in this. The supporting cast is great, whether it's Alexandra Shipp, whether it is Simu Liu, Michael Cera, America Ferrera, Will Ferrell, like all around, the cast is just spectacular. And I mean, given the fact that Greta has made two of my favorite films, being Lady Bird and Little Women, it's really great to see her handle this huge IP like this and still be able to craft her own story and use her own voice. It's a film that I think will resonate with a lot of people, whether it be young girls, even men. Personally, as a man, I I identified with Ken in some aspects, and I really appreciate that Greta found a way, in a similar way to how she depicted Teddy in Little Women. I thought that she still is able to give this really interesting storyline to Ken that I think speaks for a lot of either insecurities or low self-esteem, low confidence, self-confidence types of issues that men deal with. So I really, really loved it. Production design is beautiful. So yeah, Barbie is terrific. Now, moving on to Oppenheimer, I probably mentioned before on one of my videos I've done. If I did a Tenet review, I probably talked about it. But yeah, Christopher Nolan is my favorite director. I've loved every film he's made. A number of his films are in my top, 10 favorite films of all time. But for me, Oppenheimer was a movie that I was a little bit hesitant towards, much like when Dunkirk was coming out, because I'm more of the Christopher Nolan fan where I get excited about whether it's like an action film he's putting together, like an Inception, a Tenet, and even Interstellar, and of course the Dark Knight trilogy. But when Christopher Nolan does like a historical storyline, like a Dunkirk or Oppenheimer, I'm a little hesitant going into it because that's not the Christopher Nolan movie that I expect, you know, either for me to enjoy or whether I will get excited for that type of movie traditionally. But I mean, once again, I watched Oppenheimer and I was blown away by it. Like, Christopher Nolan cannot miss as a director. He paints such a vivid portrayal of the characters in his films, whether it be J.O. Robert Oppenheimer himself, whether it be his wife Kitty, whether it be um, Leslie Groves, played by Matt Damon, or the incredible performance of Robert Downey Jr. as Admiral Strauss. I think that he just finds a way in his films to really make things interesting that you wouldn't really, I think of as an interesting type of story at first. Because I feel like if another director did this, Oppenheimer wouldn't be as enticing as it actually is. The way that it's edited, the pacing, it's really fast and quick, and it feels like an action movie without the action. So many scenes of this film are just in rooms with characters talking to each other, and I'm just as much engaged in those scenes as I would be in any blockbuster action film today. There is something about the way that the dialogue is written, the way that the characters act towards one another, the performances by Cillian Murphy, Robert Downey Jr., Matt Damon, Emily Blunt, Florence Pugh, Josh Hartnett in a very surprising performance that I, one, didn't expect to come out of Josh Hartnett, and two, I've missed seeing Josh Hartnett, so it's great to see him show up in here. I think that the sound design, of course, is a huge strength of this film. There are some sequences, one of them being the test of the atom bomb, and another one being this sequence where Oppenheimer himself is giving a speech, and you just it feels like the way that the vibrations in the film are being utilized, the way that the close-up of Oppenheimer is being used, you feel like there's a bomb that's about to go off, and you get this feeling that he has this premonition and this paranoia and this unease. Some of these sequences are some of, I think, Nolan's best sequences, really. Especially there's this one sequence with Emily Blunt in this interrogation room where she's turning the tables on Jason Clarke's Rob, who is interrogating her. I mean, it's just incredible stuff. It's also really out of the box for Nolan because usually he is focused more around the action. This is I think the least amount of action he's had in a film since The Prestige, and he really finds a way to heighten your excitement watching it, especially when the test of the bomb happens, because that's one of his best scenes, and you just can feel the anticipation. And there's this one sequence where you just see when the bomb blows up, there's no sound, it's just completely silent, and it's not what you would expect. You would usually expect to see or hear more explosion sounds. And when you do hear the explosions in this film, you really feel them. I think that I've seen some people discuss how Hiroshima and Nagasaki aren't really dealt with that much in the film. And I actually think that was a wise move on Nolan's part because he could have easily just exploited Hiroshima and Nagasaki and shown pictures of, the devastation, but he doesn't do that, and instead he focuses his film on one man, the man that created the bomb, but he isn't necessarily the one that dropped it on these civilians. And I think that was a really smart idea, because at the end of the day, it's really, anybody could have made this bomb. And it shows you that we live in a world now where these bombs are proliferating like crazy. So really, this could be any of us. And I like that, just like with Dunkirk, Nolan makes the foreign enemy not really seen, because once again, we are all, fighting one another, and one nation's enemy could be another nation's ally. Or, to us, we might see in this film Germany being the enemy, and to Japan, America would be. So it's really interesting to see how he utilizes this mysterious veil upon the um, the opposition. And that is something that I think that with Dunkirk and Oppenheimer, we can see a bit of a through line there. I also really love that we got a lot of really interesting shots of like the stars and of like supernovas and things that would be balancing around Oppenheimer's mind, and what his thoughts about, the potential of where this like nuclear arms race could go. And it's juxtaposed with these trials, and they really want to show you how one man could really have everything taken away from them, and what one day someone might think as a hero, the next day someone might think as a villain. So there's a lot of interesting elements to Oppenheimer that you can really delve deeper into and explore, as the years go by. And that's one of my favorite types of things about films, is when you can dissect films years and years ahead. So yeah, once again, Oppenheimer is another hit for Christopher Nolan, and definitely one of my favorite movies of the year, as with Barbie. So Barbenheimer is just, you know, 2 thumbs up for Barbie and Oppenheimer. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know what you thought of both films. Did you see them in a double feature like I did? If not, which ones are you excited to see? And thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye.